Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Raghav Jagannathan. Welcome to this KLapper webinar on private AI public speed context, aware KLapper agents directly within iManage Work Web. Very exciting webinar today. Before we get started, we just want to open up a quick poll question just to get a quick sense of how you guys might be using kind of generative AI within iManage. So if you can please answer to that one question we're going to open up. While you do that, my name is Raghav. I've been working with AI since just over 7 years now. I speak at a lot of conferences worldwide, including the ILTACon conference this year, ILTA Evolve, as well as the SharePoint Copilot Symposium earlier this year. I contribute to a fair amount of ILTA cause in terms of peer-to-peer magazine contributions, blogs. I'm also the founder and CEO of KLST. We are the leading digital services provider, also the SharePoint implementation experts for over 31 AM law firms and 20 mid-sized firms. And I'm also the founder and CEO of a company called Cobot, which is a software company based out of New Jersey that focuses on creating powerful AI-powered solutions, especially for iManage customers, basically in a private context. So today I'm going to showcase a really cool AI agent that is running right within iManage so that you can surface intelligence within iManage, eliminating or reducing as much noise as possible and focused on relevant results for users, making sure that users find what they're looking for using this really cool concept called context setting or context engineering. So I'll throw some light on that as well. But before I go and show you all that fun stuff, what is KLapper? KLapper is world's first and still, from what you understand, is the only private AI platform. What that means is the platform itself with the large language model runs inside a tenant. So with KLapper, your data that KLapper learns off, your knowledge data, KLapper basically learns of the data set, keeps all the data right within your tenant, as well as the model itself, the large language model that KLapper depends on, that is also hosted by you guys. So this makes KLapper a super unique platform because with our agent builder platform, these agents that you design stays within your platform, which means that is 100% private and 100% secure with zero access to anybody or nobody outside your firm. And we are able to do this with a number of different connectors. So we have many different connectors that can connect to a legal KM platform like iManage in this instance, Work Web or Work Server, Cloud iManage or Cloud or on-prem. Or we also can connect to SharePoint sources, SQL Server data sources, Microsoft Fabric data lake sources, or even custom web application using a web API connector, a REST API connector. So KLapper is able to do all this securely right within your private tenant, connecting to these knowledge sources, learning the data where it lives, and then creating its own repository and this large language model that it uses, also hosting a tenant to intelligently answer questions. And beyond answering just Q&A or doing Q&A, KLapper also has administrative capabilities. For example, you can assign or agentic capabilities. You can assign a tasks to perform. I'm not going to be covering that today. We did do multiple webinars this year. If you're interested, please do reach out to us and we'll send you the webinar recordings. You can go to a website, www.klapper.ai, KLapper.ai, to watch those on demand. But KLapper also has agentic capabilities that you can do timesheets on, on your behalf, expense claims, apply for paid time off, and many, many, many different use cases. But today, I'm going to primarily focus on our iManage Work web extension for both Cloud iManage customers and on-prem customers. But before I go there and do a quick demo, I just want to share with you guys how we secure data. So one of the key differentiating factors between us and the rest of the platform or other competitors is how KLapper learns the data. So we actually, during the demo, you'll see how KLapper not only learns the content within that iManage workspace, it also learns the data within those documents, of course, but it also learns data around the documents, aka metadata, and it also learns the security on the document, aka the ACL, the access control list, that prevents unauthorized access to documents and folders in iManage. KLapper also learns SPM policies, iManage Security Policy Manager, or WALS information that might exist on this data, so that even through a generative AI agent, when you're asking a question, if you're not supposed to see something, KLapper would automatically restrict access so that you're not getting an answer from a document that you're not supposed to see or you do not have access. Right. So before I get moving here, I just want to start with a quick quote from Mike Kolb. Mike is the Chief Operating Officer of Dickinson Wright. It's an AM Law ranked firm. And Mike had some really nice things to say about how the firm is using KLapper, especially to power, in their case, their intranet, so that built on SharePoint Online. Just to read this quote, our AI-powered intranet delivers measurable operational improvements by centralizing access to all firm tools and institutional knowledge in a single platform, enabling our teams to operate more efficiently. The unified approach ensures consistent access to resources across all offices and practices groups. By putting powerful AI capabilities powered by KLapper at everyone's fingertips, we're driving productivity gains that directly impact our bottom line while improving the day-to-day experience for our entire workforce. This is a very powerful quote. So please do reach out to us if you're interested in learning more about this case study. All right, so on that note, I'm going to get right into a demo that shows the AI agent running right within iManage. So to do this demo, I'm going to use my local instance of iManage here just to show to potential users of iManage who are still on-prem that you're not alone. So generative AI toolset can also help you. Of course, we work with Cloud iManage and iManage on-prem customers, as long as you're running a specific version of iManage, which is 10.4 and above. All right, so the same agent can be availed through an app store, to the iManage Cloud App Store, or it can be side-loaded or deployed internally within your iManage Work server. So once you deploy the agent, you would immediately see that your regular panels shows up on the right as you navigate through the different sources. The one little button that'll come up as soon as you deploy our agent is this button called AI agent. Now, so the difference between this AI agent and just a regular agent is that it is contextual. It always knows where you are and it answers questions based on your current location. And this is so important. So let me throw some light before I show you a quick demo on what context setting or context engineering means in a generative AI context. When we talk about context, basically, as if I type a simple kind of query here, and I have a bunch of queries that I want to save on time by just copying and pasting, I can easily type it. Before I send this to the agent, what I'm doing here is what I've typed in here in this box. Everybody on this webinar would know that this is called basically a prompt, an end user prompt. So when you type an end user prompt, often it's misunderstood that this prompt basically goes to the large language model and large language model magically searches something and gives you back results. That is actually incorrect. So the way when you type a prompt in the text box, what KLapper and many other tool sets do, especially KLapper, it takes this prompt and it does a very cool semantic search right within that context where KLapper is deployed, in this context, which is the client documents context and the many different folders and files within that. This agent will basically search that repository for matching documents. And what it forms out of that is a combination of search result and end user prompt that I've typed in here, or user prompt. And then that goes to the LLM, which is the locally hosted LLM that you guys are running within your Azure tenant or large language model. And the large language model will process that. And let me show you this in action. Will process that and get you back results. Now, why is this important? This is important because when you're running an agent within iManage, the way it's running right now, where you could have gigabytes, if not possibly terabytes of data, um, hallucination and non-relevant results becomes a big problem. And part of the reason why our customers are typically not happy with any existing solutions in the market is because of the fact that they're getting wrong answers. With KLapper, it's always contextual to the current location. So for example, here, within the client documents folder, so my results are from that context. So just to kind of zone in, as you can see here, I asked for a show copyright documents, and it goes off and finds me a document with some citations and so on, so with a brief on what exactly this document is about very, very quickly. But it's only within that context. It's not iManage wide. And this is very important. So our agent today basically operates within the context of where users live. So if I go in further into the agreements folder, for example, and ask a different kind of question, you can see here I can click on the AI agent again, and automatically my agent will be ready for use. But right now, this agent is again contextual. It's running within that specific context. So now if I ask a question to this agent, the agent is only going to answer questions based on those 5 or 10 documents within that folder. And that's why this agent is always going to answer relevant data or relevant, or more importantly, accurate responses based on where the user lives within iManage. For example, here, I'm going to go ahead and ask a question. Basically, I'm asking it, identify any action items, deadlines, or responsibilities mentioned. And I'm just going to say in the lease agreement. I don't have to say that, but it should be automatically be able to pick it up because the context is very narrow. And now you can see, it would see that it goes off and easily summarizes all the different action items and the deadlines and so on and so forth that I've asked it to do as part of this prompt. And the reason why it's only looking given this really cool response that is more relevant and accurate is because of a narrow context. The context just happens to be the current folder and all the data within that folder. What becomes even more awesome is when you basically narrow down the context to a single document. So with the KLapper AI agent for iManage, especially in Work Web, you have the ability to simply pick a document like that, or simply right-click on that, or just click on it to preview the document. And all of a sudden, the agent becomes even more contextual. So it only answers questions from that document. So for example, if I was to ask a specific question, like for example, something like this, I have a predefined prompt here I'm just going to play, which is, are there any ambiguous or undefined terms in the stock purchase plan that I should be aware of or should be identified? And if I send that, the context for that prompt is now the selected document, which is a sample employee stock purchase plan. And you can see here, it comes back with an answer specific to the document. So what we saw in the last 15 minutes is basically an AI agent that is context aware. So this is so important. In a generative AI, especially in the world we live in, where there's a lot of data, a lot of noise, a lot of content, relevancy and accuracy is now the most important factors. Attorneys don't want to get wrong answers. As much as they want to get the answer, they don't want to get the wrong answer. And that seems to be a problem with a lot of our competitive products. But KLapper, because it understands the context where you live in, it always answers appropriately and accurately and very quickly within that context. So before we go to the next part of this demo, which is a really cool drafting documents and reviewing documents use case, We would love for you to give us some feedback on the content so far that we've shared with you. We're going to open up a couple of poll questions. If you can please take a moment to just answer those questions, I really appreciate that. Moving on here, while you guys do that, so far what we've seen, as I said before, how a very specific context setting for an AI agent running within iManage Work Web can intelligently, quickly, and accurately answer questions. But what about creating data, creating documents? So for this, what I'm going to do here is creating documents while you're in iManage. And that's a very common use case. So you're not just consuming data, you might be also creating data. To do this, I'm just going to go into this folder called Create Documents. And within that, I have a couple of demo folders here. One folder is called Create Document. That is going to be a source I'm going to use to actually create a document. So the use case here, or the scenario here, is that I have a template document. The template document is basically could be an NDA, could be so any kind of contract. And with our agent, you have right within iManage, you have the ability to simply give a system command called create document, and the agent gets into business. It'll start asking a series of questions to actually select a specific template, select a series of documents that you want it to learn from, like letters and memos and correspondence and other possible playbook documents, that our agent will then use the data, the content from those documents, to populate this template document so that it can create a new instance of the document and automatically save it to the location where I specified in iManage. So basically, with the idea here is that with this agent, I can significantly cut down the time it takes to create properly formatted templates or documents based out of templates, predefined form template documents, and with content from the reference documents learned. So let's look at that in action. So I'm going to go ahead here and click on my AI agent. And this agent now basically will load in that context, right? So I'm going to go ahead and give it a command here called create document. So once I send the command, automatically the KLapper will recognize that this is a system command. So it no longer treats it as a question from the user. It understands that it's a system command designed for it to create a document. So I'm going to go ahead and answer its questions it is asking me now, which is, tell me how should I create this document? Let's answer the questions. So while it loads the wizard here for a second, okay, I'll quickly log in here for a second. Okay, so the first step is to select the library. I'm going to go ahead and select the library. I can always search for my workspace, but I have a limited number of workspaces here. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick browse to my workspace. And my folder here is the folder I was in right now, which is this document. And for the template document, I'm going to go ahead and select my Word template. Now, a few points about this template as I click through here. The first step is to select the Word template. And remember, there are two use cases. The second use case, if I get time, I'll show you, or you guys can reach out to me. I'll leave my contact details for a custom demo. The second use case, if I don't find time, is creating multiple documents. So we do the exact same thing, but we do in bulk. Okay, so we'll focus on the one first, and then if time permits, we'll show you the bulk creation as well. So what we've just done here with create document is we've selected the template. When we've told KLapper, this agent, that, hey, this is the template document I want you to use. Now, this template document could be a document with a lot of placeholder text where you want KLapper to kind of replace data, or it could simply be a blank blank area where you want KLapper to insert data. So we don't recommend either way for you to how you design your templates, as long as the template makes some sort of a sense, has some sort of a placeholder or a blank space for KLapper to understand that, oh, I have to fill this section. And that's the idea. So there is no recommendations on how you design this template, as long as the template has some sort of a placeholder, and the placeholder could exist as a blank space, or it could be a decorated text within square brackets or whatnot. All right, so they have multiple options here. So we're going to go ahead and by the way, the reference documents I'm selecting here need not live in the same location as the template, but it just happens to be that I'm going to pick this for my demo. And I can add a number of different documents. So I don't have to just add one document. If there are memos, letters, correspondence, other contracts, you can add one or many of them. And the idea behind this is to tell the agent that, hey, I want you to learn all these documents, read them, and then make sense of them, and then go and populate my template in the most educated way, so that when the document gets created, it's relevant, useful, something that I can share with other parties for signature and whatnot. Okay, so for the purpose of this demo, I'm simply going to use just one document. All right, so I'm just going to go start learning. What this does is basically now starts reading the document end to end. If there are one or more documents, it's one document in this case. It reads the document. It's going through the document end to end. That's what we call learning. All right. So, and remember, it's also learning the ACL in the document. So hypothetically, in this use case, obviously I only can add documents that I have access to. So that's not a problem. But always remember that in all the demo I have shown you so far, KLapper will only show you data that you have access to, which is very important. Okay, so the last step in that document feeding process is prompt. Now we give this free text box where you can type whatever you want. Now, obviously, whatever you type in here basically will help KLapper understand and parse the template, parse the reference document, and execute specific actions that you want it to do. For example, I have a very large or long system prompt here that I've typed, that I've taken into consideration a number of different things that I've seen or I want KLapper to perform. For example, remove certain names like page numbers, and remove this and do that, and give some guidance on how to format title. So basically, and this is completely optional. You don't have to do it. But with this prompt, you have the ability to specify how you want the format, the end of document that gets created, formatted, so that you can basically create a document that is useful and relevant. All right, so now the last step in the process is we're going to go ahead and save this document somewhere. So again, I don't have to save it where I'm creating it. I can simply browse to the workspace, completely different workspace if I want to, and create the document right there. But I'm just going to simply use this location here to create my document. So I'm just going to call it investment proposal document. I'm going to give it a nice date so that we know that it was created today. Alrighty, so we are ready to rock and roll here. So we're just going to go ahead and create document, and you can see here on the right hand corner, KLapper gets into business. It starts now. You can see here it's very quickly processing the data, and it's going to go ahead and very quickly, as you can see, it's showing you real-time updates on what's going on here. And while I was talking, within seconds, I would say less than 30 seconds, it created a document for me, right? So it created a document that I can just simply click on and open the document, right? So to save on time here, I went ahead and created the document before this webinar so that I can show you an example in action. So I'm just going to open this document here. And you would see that the template document, just to kind of give some reference of what exactly happened. So this is the reference document. I fed it. This is how the template document looks that I selected for this as a baseline template for KLapper to use. And again, I put some placeholders, but you don't have to. The reference document is basically a letter that was shared, and KLapper was able to go through the document, learn it, and then it basically generated this document for me, basically filling out all those different placeholder texts with the data it learned from the reference document. Now, as an option, we can also do citations. You can see here there are citations that basically tells you right at the footer of the document where it learned the data from, and it adds that in there as well as an option. You don't have to use that. You can turn that off. So basically here, let me minimize all that. So you can see here that if I just refresh the screen here, you can see my document is created in iManage, ready for me to use. I can preview it, I can download it, and I can share it with my customers. So we are just a couple of minutes away from for me to show do a proper justice to my create multiple documents use case. But create multiple documents use case is simply awesome, because with create multiple documents, you now have the ability to completely automate the creation of multiple documents, as the name implies. So you have the ability to feed it one or more templates, and for these one or more templates, you can feed it one or more control documents. And what it'll do is for each template document, it would create corresponding based on the reference documents you've added. For each template, let's say you have 5 template documents, it'll create 5 basically documents. If you have 1 template documents and 5 control documents, you have the ability to control the create multiple documents, whether it creates 5 instances based on these 5 control documents based on the template documents. So think about the power of this, where you can bulk create contracts for customers right within iManage. Just share with create multiple documents, where you're basically feeding the template document, feeding all the control documents, and saying, look, I want you to create a different contract for Bank of America, or for Contoso, or for Wingtip, and all these different, and it just bulk creates it and sticks them wherever you want it to save, and which makes it extremely powerful. All right, so I'm at time here, guys. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to leave my contact details on the screen, so you have the ability to maybe take a screenshot, or please feel free to scan the QR code if you would like to set up a private demo to deeper dive into some of the concepts that I've shared with you. You can always connect with me on LinkedIn, and also visit our website, KLapper.ai, to watch some of our past webinars, and also recording of this webinar if you want to share with your colleagues and friends. Thank you so much. Have